In the mid-18th century was a city of stark contrasts, grand Georgian facades towering over warrens of poverty and the scent of expensive port mingling with the rot of the liberties. Amidst the cobbled shadows and perpetual mist, few districts were as notorious as Copper Alley, a narrow street synonymous with vice. And within that narrow, crowded passage, one figure held unchallenged dominion: Darkey Kelly, known to all simply as Darkey. Darkey Kelly was more than just a madam, she was an institution. Her establishment was a beacon of ill repute, a thriving, profitable business that catered to all strata of Dublin society, from drunken labourers to cloaked, anonymous gentry. In an era where women had little power, Darkey had carved out a formidable empire through sharp wit, ruthless management, and a powerful network of debtors and informants. She commanded a loyalty born of fear and necessity, a sovereign in her own dark kingdom. She was a woman of presence, known for her sharp tongue and an air of defiance that hinted at a life lived outside the bounds of conventional morality. But her success was built on unstable ground, the fleeting goodwill of lawmen and the shifting loyalties of her clientele. In 1760, as winter began to settle over the city, her carefully constructed world was about to crumble in a spectacular, brutal fashion. Darkey's downfall was hastened not by a grand act of defiance, but by a seemingly mundane debt. She was accused of owing a local shoemaker, a claim she vehemently denied. When the shoemaker was subsequently found murdered, the charge, whether true or fabricated by vengeful rivals, was laid squarely at her door. The authorities, eager to dismantle her powerful operation, had their pretext. Darkey was arrested, but the full horror of her life was revealed only after her brothel was searched. The search party descended into the cellar, a damp, forgotten space beneath the bustling floors, and there, behind a false wall, they discovered a chilling vault. It was not a storage space for gin or gold, but a makeshift crypt. Within they found the skeletal remains of several men. The exact number is lost to sensationalized history, but the discovery was enough to shock even the hardened Dublin populace. Darkey Kelly instantly transformed in the public imagination, shifting from a mere criminal to a monster. Ireland's first suspected female serial killer, a black widow who lured men into her den and consigned them to its darkest depths. The trial was a foregone conclusion. Fueled by public hysteria, moral outrage, and a desire to purge the city of its perceived vice, the verdict was swift: guilty. Darkey Kelly was sentenced to death, not merely by hanging, but by burning at the stake, a rarely invoked, archaic punishment reserved for the most heinous crimes, specifically those related to treason, or, in this case, a monstrous form of murder that warranted maximum terror and example. On January 7th, 1761, a vast, jeering crowd gathered at Gallows Road, near the present-day Baggot Street. The execution was a public spectacle designed to instill fear and enforce obedience. Accounts from the time are horrific and conflicted. Some report she was hanged first, and her body then burned. Others claim the fire was lit while she was still alive, an unspeakable act of torture meant to satiate the bloodlust of the crowd and the strict justice of the courts. What remains undisputed is the shocking brutality of the sentence and its execution. Darkey Kelly was the last woman in Ireland to suffer this terrible fate. The fire that consumed Darkey Kelly did not extinguish her memory. It forged a legend. She remains one of the most recognizable and tragic figures in Dublin's dark history. Today, the land where her brothel stood and where her terrible secrets were unearthed is said to be haunted. Locals and historians alike point to spectral sightings and strange occurrences in the vicinity of Copper Alley. Darkey Kelly's story is a harrowing glimpse into the social hierarchy of 18th century Dublin, a woman who clawed her way to power only to be crushed and spectacularly eliminated by the very society she sought to manipulate. She is remembered not just for the horrors of her vault, but for the fires of her defiance and the legacy of her spectral lament across the cobbled shadows of the city.